Rashida Tlaib gave a rebuttal to Joe Biden's State of the Union tonight. Now, you can dismiss that as, okay, she's Rashida Tlaib, who cares? It's Joe Biden, he's the president, she's some young congresswoman, who cares? I'll tell you who cares. Seasoned politicians. We're gonna ask my buddy Buck about that. Joining me now, my friend Buck Sexton of Hold the Line. Hey, Buck, just quickly, because we'll get back to the actual State of the Union. Rashida Tlaib gave a rebuttal to Joe Biden's State of the Union tonight. I know you didn't watch. I didn't watch either. But the fact she felt bold enough to give it means the senior Democrat leadership really, really has no sway over these young nut jobs anymore.
That's definitely true, and that's a worry because there's this chasm between the old guard, phony lib Democrats, the Pelosi's, the Schumers. They're all very rich, doesn't really matter anymore. Whatever happens to the country is not really top of their minds because, what do they care? And then you go down the line, and who else is really influential to the Democrat Party? It's obviously some of these far left commies, and that's distressing in and of itself. But I would say one thing that's fascinating about the Biden presidency is that he's actually not making anyone happy. He's not good from the perspective of the leftists because he hasn't been able to deliver on agenda items for them. I mean, he's done some little things here and there, the executive orders when he came into office. And, he takes cheap shots at Republicans and says Jim Crow 2.0 about the voting. And, he's trying to keep them happy. But in terms of delivering, he's actually given them really nothing. In terms of delivering for the country, obviously, it's a catastrophe. I was just watching that speech thinking, it's almost like he's living in a delusion. I mean, it's one thing, you could be a Democrat who watched a Trump speech in the first year and say, I don't like this guy. I don't like his ideas. Whatever, fine. But he was talking about what was actually happening and what he was trying to do. And with Joe Biden just there, I mean, he was giving us like a Econ 101. And we both know, Jesse, the only jobs Biden's ever created are for Hunter in Ukraine and China. So I don't know. Yeah, I know. I thought you'd like that one.
No. I did find it funny that he went on this huge buy American kick. His son won't even buy American hookers. But setting that aside here for just a moment, speaking of this world of delusion, he spent 15 minutes, Buck, right after Ukraine, he transitioned right into Build Back Better, pitching for this bill that's dead. I mean, Joe Manchin has said on camera several times, the bill is dead and it's not coming back. And Biden took a quarter of his speech, or at least roughly that, campaigning for a dead bill in a year when, as we get closer to the midterms, he's not going to pass anything anyway. Why? What did I miss?
What else is he going to say? I'm bad at this, and you people were foolish for electing me. I mean, that's really where we are. We all know there's not going to be some massive. I mean, all of a sudden there's going to be this enormous legislative bill that comes through, package that comes through, and it involves spending trillions more when you already have It's going to be 7.5 or 7.25% inflation coming up here soon. It's absurd. But this whole thing was ridiculous. I mean, remember. They hid this guy in the basement and just figured he has name recognition. He was Obama's VP. He can play the old friendly grandpa, even though he's not a nice guy. I keep pointing that out. He says horrible things about his political opponents all the time. I think he's quite divisive and honestly destructive in many ways. But they elected him really on a lie. I mean, say what you will about some of the other Democrats who are out there. At least they give you some idea of what they think, what they say they're going to do. Joe Biden pretended to be something else, a moderate who would unite the country. He hasn't united anything. I mean, I will say, if I'm going to be honest, he didn't turn this all into a big referendum on Trump. That was a surprise to me. That was a surprise. He maybe realized that would look weak and pathetic even more so than ignoring essentially the last year, because I think he did that. He kept talking about what he's going to do. Well, what has he been doing? And I think that was a part of this that was missing. Usually a State of the Union is we did this amazing thing, we did that amazing thing, and you can agree or disagree with it. But I mean, creating jobs? We're not even back to the employment we had before the lockdowns. What is he talking about? Creating millions of jobs, telling people they're allowed to go back to the job that you kept them from going to for no good reason, as you and I both know, by the way. Turned out that was all crap. That's not being a job creator, any more so than an arsonist who finally calls the fire department is really concerned with public safety. Like, you're the ones that caused the problem. You don't get credit for ending the problem you caused when it comes to jobs and shutdowns.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe, You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.